Hello students, welcome to political science class. In the last class we have done the 6 fundamental rights. Now we will do the protection of fundamental rights. Protection means we will check the real significance of fundamental rights, that do these rights have actual implementation or merely it is written as document in the constitution. So this can be checked by considering all these points. First of all, the right to constitutional remedy. This is itself a fundamental right that you have read earlier, that under this right you got the right to move to the court in order to claim the compensation if you occur damages due to the violation of fundamental rights. Then judicial writs. This also you have done in the previous video, that there are so many famous judicial writs or the legal commands by the Supreme Court or the High Court to the people who are the defaulters, or they are holding the office but they are not performing their duty well. Then other organizations like National Commission on Minorities, Women and Scheduled Caste, they also work on the behalf of the minority group or women and scheduled caste and help the victims in order to get the justice in case of the violation of fundamental rights. Then the most important role played by the National Human Rights Commission in order to enhance the fundamental rights, which was established in 2000 and it was made by the law. So this organization is composed of the former Chief Justice of Supreme Court, former senior judges of the Supreme Court, or the former Chief Justice of High Court, and other people who have good knowledge of the law. So they do or they help the victims in order to claim the compensation if their fundamental rights are violated. क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे होते हैं जिनको फंडामेंटल राइट्स के बारे में नॉलेज नहीं होती, तो ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है वो हेल्प करती है विक्टिम्स की इन ऑर्डर टू गेट द क्लेम ऑफ द फंडामेंटल राइट्स. So there are so many examples in which the National Human Rights Commission intervened. There are so many cases. The case of Punjab during the period of 1984 to 1996, it was a period of terrorism, and when so many youth were disappeared, and due to the lack of means, due to the lack of knowledge, due to any other reason, they were unable to appeal to the they were not appealing the Supreme Court, but National Human Rights Commission intervened in their case and helped them to get justice. Same in the case of Gujarat riots, which happened in during the period 2002. The National Human Rights Commission intervened and helped them to get the justice in the violation of human rights. And other organizations are also there, like independent organization like People's Union for Civil Liberties, like PUCL, and People's Union for Democratic Rights. They also act as watchdog against the violation of rights. So by considering all these points, it is clear that there is a protection of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are not merely written in the constitution, but actually these are implemented also. And if anyone is hurting or violating the fundamental rights, then they are protected, they will get the compensation in violation of these rights. Now this is the last part of the chapter, that is directive principles of state policy. Means that those guidelines which are mentioned in the constitution which has no legal enforcement, means that if not implemented we cannot approach court, or court cannot enforce the implementation of these guidelines. And on the other hand, it has moral force, means constitution maker wanted that government should take them seriously. एक तरफ constitution maker चाहते थे कि these certain policies should be implemented in order to handle the problems faced by the independent country. On the other hand, उनको पता था कि इसकी implementation से country में conflict arise होगा. So that's why they wanted that there should not be bound on the future government. So that's why they made the separate list of directive principles, broadly containing three things. First of all, goals and objectives that society should adopt. Second, certain rights individuals should enjoy apart from fundamental rights, and certain policies that government should adopt. There are some examples of these certain policies like Zamindari Abolition Bill, Nationalized Bank, Minimum Wages Act, provision for the reservation for the upliftment of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, right to education, midday meal, etc. Means these policies made by the constitution maker, but they didn't make it compulsory at that time or made it mandatory, because they knew that it may arise conflict in the society. So these policies can be implemented according to the situation or the condition of the country. Now, the fundamental duties. Fundamental duties were added in the constitution in 1976 with 42nd amendment in the constitution. So there was a addition of list of 10 duties, and it has no enforcement, means people are not required to perform or fulfill these duties. So there is no enforcement, it is just a list of 10 duties. Like it is our duty to defend our country, it is our duty to promote the harmony, and it is our duty to protect the environment, but there is no condition upon the fulfillment of these fundamental duties, और ना ही कोई ऐसी कंडीशन कि आप अगर फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज़ परफॉर्म करोगे तो ही आपको फंडामेंटल राइट्स जो हैं वो दिए जाएंगी, ऐसे कोई भी कंडीशन नहीं है. नाउ द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन फंडामेंटल राइट्स एंड डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स. So there is a conflicting relationship between fundamental rights and directive principles. Fundamental rights restrain the government to do certain things, means it prevents the government to do certain things, because first of all fundamental rights of individual are important, so that's why there is a restriction on the government. But on the other hand, directive principles exhort the government to do certain things. Exhort means it urges, or there is a strong encouragement to the government to do certain things for the welfare of society. Fundamental rights protect the rights of individual, but directive principles are towards the well-being of the entire society. So that's why there is a conflict or anti-relationship between fundamental rights and directive principle. If we are going to implement the directive principle, it will bring the conflict with the fundamental rights. This can be understood with example. The example of to abolish zamindari system versus the right to property. In the directive principle, it was mentioned that zamindari system can be abolished according to the situation and condition of the country. And when government implemented or decided to implement this system, there was a conflict arised with the fundamental right to property, because earlier right to property was the fundamental right, but in 1978 there was a 44th amendment in the constitution, and in which the right to property from the fundamental right was shifted to the legal right or ordinary legal right. So due to this conflict, there was a long legal battle between government and the court. Government was in view that right of individual will be shrinked if फॉर गिविंग इफेक्ट टू डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स, कि अगर हम डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स को फॉलो करेंगे तो थोड़े से राइट्स जो हैं वो इंडिविजुअल्स के श्रिंक होंगे, कम होंगे ही, एंड इफ़ वी आर टेकिंग अ गुड स्टेप फॉर द वेलफेयर ऑफ सोसाइटी. बट कोर्ट वॉज इन व्यू दैट राइट्स आर सेक्रेड, इट कैन नॉट बी लिमिटेड, because India is a democratic country. In a democratic country, people are supreme and their fundamental rights cannot be reduced. Or court is also the guardian of the fundamental rights, so they were in view that it cannot be limited. And government was in view that parliament can amend constitution, but court was in view that parliament cannot amend if it is violated the fundamental rights or it is limiting the fundamental rights. So this controversy was settled by the Supreme Court decision in Keshav Nanda Bharti case, which we will discuss in the next chapter. Now this chapter is complete. So do the assignment uploaded on the school website. Thank you.